for stopping by the Marita Minutes. Before I get started, I'd like to say that everything on my channel is alleged and, in my opinion, and done for entertainment purposes only. If you are new here, welcome. To all my new subscribers, thank you for joining me on my journey. Please like, share, and subscribe. It is free. Now let's get into it. First, I want to say I've been under the weather a little bit lately, so if I sound a little nasally or stuffy, I am still trying to recover. So excuse me for that. Still trying to get over this. My allergies have gone crazy. It's allergy season, and I've not been feeling too well. But anyway, aside from that, I wanted to come to you and talk about Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 8, The Reunion, Part 1. And I don't really, this recording is not going to be that long because we really didn't have much to share. However, they really didn't really talk about much. They rehashed the things going on between Giselle and Candace, and they talked a little bit about, of course, Robin and her dumb saga. And we'll talk about, bits and pieces of what my opinion is. That's about it. But out the gate, Giselle walks out and says, "Hi, Andrew," and looks down at her first chair where she normally sits and says, "Who's sitting there?" And he told her, "Karen." Whoop. There it is. She says, "Oh, okay. That's nice." And I think that caught her off guard. She just found out that she is no longer first chair. Well, she wasn't this season. She hasn't really been bringing it. She hasn't really been a good player this whole season. I don't know what this mean girl energy she wants to portray, but since she, I guess, couldn't ice out Candace during the season, her goal was to laugh at her and humiliate her and make her feel really, really bad during the reunion. And she tried it. Anyway, so after she walks out, Candace walks out, and her thing is, why was I being rushed? Because literally there's no one out here. Even though Giselle was out there, but she was acting like, she's literally, there's no one out here. Why was I being rushed? Yeah, Candace, they were rushing you. So they all come out one by one. And while they're all sitting there getting ready to start, pretty much Andy starts out asking the group, are they, or any of them, able to say now? Do they have a way to find a way forward? Because pretty much he was admitting this season was very hard to watch. Certain people weren't talking to other people. It was like they were like in groups, and they were like this group here, this group there, and of course, Karen was in the middle. And so Candace was the first to speak up and say that, she could own what she needed to own, basically. And then after that, Wendy chimed in and said, "Yeah, me too." And then Ashley chimed in, Mia chimed in, and noticing on the other side where it was Karen, Giselle, Robin, and Nneka in that same order, Karen turns to the Green Eye Bandits and says, "Okay, what about y'all two?" And the only thing Giselle could say, "Yeah, I'm looking forward to the ownership." Not that she had to take accountability for anything, but she was looking forward to other people taking ownership. And then, of course, Robin being her sidekick and following her lead, she said, "Yeah, why not?" So, Andy goes on to say, well, the only topic that they all are able to get together and talk about is the, sex word, and they jump to a clip where they're sitting out, for dinner, and Wendy asks, a question, who's done this? So I don't know, swallow, I think, whatever. When I thought about that, I'm like, The first thing that came to my mind was the whole the parody, not so much the person that actually started it, but the parody. Have you swallowed? Have you ever been swallowed? Anyway, I'm sorry. I digress. Um, Andy asked, well, has anybody taken Robin's advice about swallowing? And everybody's shaking their head like, oh my God, hell no, no. And Mia raises her hand and says yes. And so he says, oh, with your DJ man, you've done this. I'm like, oh my God, Andy, please stop. And so I think Andy reads a comment on, I guess one of the viewers had asked, because I think Ashley made him admit that she does it, but she doesn't swallow. She spits it out. And she holds it until, I guess, Michael falls asleep. And everybody's like, ew, like, how can you do, like, why would you do that? You might as well just, Robinson, you might as well just swallow it at that point. She says no, because if you're putting it down like you're supposed to, more than likely he'll be asleep in a minute. So probably you wouldn't hold it any longer than a minute. Andy was disgusted. Like, everybody was disgusted. And of course, Giselle said, well, why don't you just spit it out in your hand? And she's like demonstrating how to spit it out in your hand. Like, Giselle, you ain't doing nothing. Girl, go back. Goodbye. So they go on to talk about how, I guess they went to a clip, I think, and they were talking about, I think it was when they were away and they were going around asking questions, sexual questions, about what people have done. And I think the question was posed to Karen, like how many sexual partners she's had in the last 5 years. Well, one of the viewers, I think that's how they got to it. One of the viewers asked Karen, like, why does she hesitate when she talked about how many partners she had for 5 years? And she said, well, I have to count my wet dreams too. Even though she said after Wendy told me I couldn't have wet dreams, she said, but that's what I was counting or whatever. So I think Robin pipes up and says, yeah, in other words, you can't keep track of how many partners you had. And Karen turned to her and said, no, that would be one. I know that's right. Like, Robin, you don't have no leeway to talk on the stage about anything because they can come at you in any direction. I suggest that you be quiet. Don't say anything else because you are going to embarrass yourself. How's she going to tell somebody they can't count how many partners they have? She said, no, that would be one. I know that's right, Karen. Shut her up. So then they talk about Juan's shenanigans and how Robin believes that he's not doing anything. He didn't do anything with the Canada girl, as Andy said. And she felt like she had no reason to believe that he did anything with Coach Bree. And based on, she said, what different things that had come out afterwards, she says she believes them. And so she also talks about how Juan cleans out his phone, all his DMs and all his messages. And Andy said, well, doesn't that make you feel some type of way about him cleaning out his phone? And she was like, no, he's really strange about his phone. He doesn't like to be cluttered. So I guess he calls himself cleaning it out so he can make more space. Oh, bye. Get out of here. I know Robin is not dumb. Okay. They have an agreement that they are there for the kids. Point blank, period. I don't know if they really got married. Somebody said that nobody has seen a certificate, so that might have been just for us, right? Hopefully it was, because when those kids graduate, she needs to tell him to kick rocks. He has worn out his welcome. I don't feel, they could be friends. I feel like they are friends, and they just have this understanding. They do have kids together, and they want to co-parent, and they've been doing that since the beginning of this franchise, at the beginning of Potomac, because they weren't together at the beginning. She had just lost their money. And I don't know if he divorced her or whatever. I don't know how that all came about. I don't know if she divorced him because of his running around or whatever, but she did ultimately lose all their money. Yet they stuck it together. They stuck it out because I think they are friends. I think at the very least, they are friends. They just happen to have children together, and that romantic side has played itself out. He's not interested that way anymore. I mean, I'm not saying he's never will be or that he isn't sometimes, because he is a man, but I don't think it's where it was pre losing of the money or kids or anything like that. I think they're just at a different place in their relationship. But she needs to be honest about it and forthcoming. Don't act like y'all live in this marital bliss, because it ain't that. We can see it. Robin pipes up and says, "Yeah, y'all should do a 2-hour segment on Juan's life. It's very interesting." Girl, what? I don't think so. We're not interested. How about that? So they talk about Karen being Switzerland and how she really can't pick side, evidently. And Karen is like, it's not that I'm, pick sides or I can't make my decision. She says, I am on the side of right. Basically, that's what she said. I'm paraphrasing. She's on the side of right. And if she doesn't see that the one side is right, she doesn't, she just tries to bring the girls together. She says she's doing the act of God. Can't y'all see that? So then they went to talk about Giselle receiving death threats. And Giselle wants to blame it on Candace based on whatever transpired last season. And by her saying that, I think it was the colorism thing. And the way Candace went in describing her as far as, her likeness to whiteness has granted her certain privileges that some brown skinned people don't get. And even though she's Black, because of the nature of her color of her skin, anyway, she has some privileges there. And then Giselle is very pretty. She's got the green eyes, on top of being light skinned. So, and I think she understands what's afforded to her to a degree. I mean, she went to Hampton. She got to know something, right? I don't know. She was talking about the death threats, and I don't feel like it was right for her to blame it on Candace. Like, you have to understand that some people don't like you. Even before the colorism statements, people were kind of turned off by you on how you treated that whole Chris and into your hotel room section. Everybody saw that was a bunch of crap because your story kept changing. And you went after this man, making it seem like he apparently or implied that he had made you feel a certain way. Even though I think it was your idea. I think he wanted to talk to you, but I think it was your idea to go back to your room because you thought your glam squad was there. Well, it's not. How is that not his? How is that his fault? Because your glam squad wasn't there. And then when you told him to step out, I think he did, didn't he? Or whatever transpired later. I mean, he never. I don't. And I feel like you knew that was not his intent to make you feel uncomfortable. But you needed a storyline, and that wasn't the way to do it. You tried it with Eddie and Wendy the season before, right? But that didn't go anywhere because Wendy shut that down. It's like you go after people's relationships because you don't have one. Now, I noticed the segment where he calls out everybody's husband. The only person that doesn't have a husband is Giselle. Mia has Gordon. Candace has Chris. Wendy has Eddie. Well, Ashley doesn't have Michael, but she had Michael. He would come on there or whatever. But, that relationship is, I don't know what that relationship is. And then you have Nneka and her man. I don't remember his name. And then Juan ain't never showing up for Robin because he don't like to be bombarded with questions because he knows what he's about, right? And then of course there's Karen and Ray. So I guess she has company because she has Ashley and Robin, whose men aren't going to come to support. So she's not really by herself. But they do have husbands. Okay. So she's the only one up there that's not married. Okay. About I guess they go into their Patreon and they talk about, how Robin wasn't, forthcoming with her issue last year with Juan. Her thing wasn't relevant at the time. I mean, the same old story. And they were like, you covered yours up and then attacked and then was in cahoots basically into trying to figure out how to take down Chris or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, and and Robin was like, no, that's not true. That's not true. And, she said, you went behind a paywall. And then you were laughing and joking about the rumor that came out because remember, there was a girl that claimed that she had an affair with Chris. And they met, I guess, on social media, whatever. And, so she was like, y'all were laughing and behind that and making, comments about something that you knew that had been debunked. And Giselle said, no, we didn't. We talked about it one time. And so Robin speaks up and says, oh, are you talking about the pictures about your husband's limb, basically? And her thing was, what picture are you talking about? And then my thing is, if it was debunked and the girl came out and said she lied, Robin, why are you talking about pictures? Clearly, the pictures were fake too. It was like she wanted to say something. It was like, why are y'all trying to purposely hurt this girl's feelings? So then she starts crying and Giselle starts laughing. Like it's not one thing y'all wanted to ice her out on season 8. But now you want to laugh at her pain, laugh at her and humiliate her to make her even feel that much worse. I thought that was horrible. I feel like Giselle is like, she's not 60, but she's pushing it. She's not that far from Karen, right? How old are we? And why are you acting like this? The maturest person on there is the youngest person, I believe, that's on the panel. It's either between Ashley and what's her name? The girl that we're talking about. Candace. I'm sorry. I don't know why I want to call her Danielle. Who the hell is Danielle? Anyway, yes, but I think the between them two, they're the youngest on the set. So why? And I thought that was oh my God, it was such a mean girl energy that Giselle was doing. And then she has a follower like Robin. What are you doing? And Robin's like, well, if you feel like I was in cahoots, trying to go after you and Chris, then why do you want to even be my friend? Okay, Candace, come on now. Red flag. Hello. They don't like you. They don't want to be your friend. Leave the Green-Eyed Bandits alone. Your life will continue like it did before you met them. Trust and believe. Okay? I'm just like not for it. So, after all of that, Andy's like, come on now, y'all, get a grip. His thing was, Giselle, you're being mean. He even said it. Like, stop. He said, I'm trying to, I'm trying to bring them together. We have 15 minutes before we go to break. He said, I'm trying to get this resolved between Candace and Giselle. And Candace stopped him in his tracks. And she was like, look, Andy, I've heard enough, and if looks could kill, watch Giselle's eyes after Candace says that statement. Without even blinking, she shifts her eyes towards Candace and was like listening to her very intently. As she talked about, she didn't want to hear no more. She was tired, basically. But the look that she gave Candace, I mean, she don't see it for Candace, obviously. And that look told me everything I needed to know. So she was like, all she wanted was for her friend to be transparent, talking about Robin. And, they went back and forth. And then she talked about, and Giselle making up, that she forced my husband forced her to go in the room. And Giselle was like, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But the producers ran it back about what she actually said. And she does say, he made me go into the room. She never said, oh, yeah, I'm sorry I said that. She just went into, she just reiterated what she said. She said, he asked me. We already knew that. We knew that he asked you. But you try to change and shift the narrative by your words. And like Karen said, words do matter, because he asked me and he met me is two different things, Giselle. And I think you just got called out on it and you feel some way about it. That's why you don't like Candace. But Candace just kept her foot on your neck. But I'm glad that she's leaving, because now I see where you go. Let's see where you go now and who you pick a fight with. And it better not be Wendy, because Wendy ain't got time for you. Okay. So then they go on to I think Gordon and Mia. And then that's how it kind of goes off. But it talks about, I mean, I think they go for a break. And then Mia seems like she's a little agitated because Ink has been calling her back to back to back to back to back. Now, if they are seeing each other and dating like they said, like she says they are, then how come he's doing all this to her? Or, you know, you would think he knew that she was taping. And she seemed a little agitated, but it was Gordon that was like, oh, well, maybe he's just concerned about you. You know, obviously he's in a better place with whatever's going on between them, because she calls him up. She's talking to Ink on the phone, FaceTime. And Gordon, she says, Gordon's here. And he's like, hey, what's up, man? You know, they talking to each other like they buddies. I'm like, okay. Some time has passed since that last segment of the show, because this is a far cry from how he was acting on that last episode of Real Housewives of Potomac. Well, that's all I have, everyone. And I tried to do it in my Read a Minute. Please like, share, and subscribe. And leave a comment down below. Everyone be blessed. Peace.